December 18th, 1944. 14:30 hours. Frozen woods near Malmedy, Belgium. Gefreiter. Karl Bauer pressed his face against the snow, listening to American voices approaching through the trees. His stomach cramped from 3 days without food. The ersatz coffee in his canteen had frozen solid, and his last cigarette, rolled from tobacco swept from the floor of a bombed supply depot, had been smoked 2 days ago. When the GIs found his hiding spot and ordered him out with the carbines raised, Bauer expected the worst. Instead, a sergeant with a Brooklyn accent offered him a lucky strike and poured steaming coffee from a thermos into a metal cup. "Here you go, buddy," the American said, lighting Bauer's cigarette with a Zippo. "War's over for you." This wasn't about tactics or bravery. It was about supply chains that could deliver abundance to every foxhole, proving to German soldiers that the war was lost not to superior fighting, but to an enemy that treated luxuries like daily necessities. The collapse of German logistics. By December 1944, the Wehrmacht's supply system was in freefall. The vaunted German war machine that had conquered half of Europe now struggled to feed its own soldiers. Fuel shortages stranded tanks. Ammunition ran low. Food rations had been cut repeatedly until soldiers survived on 1,800 calories daily. When supply lines functioned at all, the ersatz economy had reached absurd extremes. Coffee came from roasted acorns, chicory, or even ground tree bark. Cigarettes were rolled from whatever plant matter could be found, sometimes literally hay or leaves. Bread contained so much sawdust and potato starch that digestive problems were epidemic. Meat appeared so rarely that finding a piece of sausage was cause for celebration. German soldiers had been surviving on fumes and willpower, told that final victory would justify every sacrifice. The Ardennes offensive, Hitler's last gamble, was supposed to demonstrate German resilience and split the Allied alliance. Instead, it would reveal the mathematical impossibility of matching American abundance. The arsenal of comfort. The American supply system in late 1944 operated on a scale that German commanders found incomprehensible. The Quartermaster Corps delivered not just military necessities, but what Germans considered luxuries, to every soldier in every foxhole across multiple theaters of war. The numbers told a story of industrial capacity beyond German imagination. Cigarette production reached 300 billion units annually for military distribution alone. Every American soldier received 20 cigarettes daily as standard issue, not as rewards or special rations, but as basic entitlement. Chocolate production exceeded 600 million Hershey bars during the war years, with D-ration emergency chocolate designed to survive extreme temperatures and provide quick energy. Coffee supply included instant varieties distributed in every K-ration and C-ration, plus fresh coffee whenever field kitchens could operate. Daily caloric intake for American troops averaged 3,700 calories, nearly double the German ration by 1944. Beyond calories, Americans received vitamin supplements, chewing gum, candy bars, canned fruit, and processed meats that German soldiers hadn't seen since 1941. The PX system delivered additional comfort items: razors, soap, writing paper, magazines, and extra cigarettes that soldiers could purchase with their pay. What Germans hoarded as precious luxuries, Americans bought casually from camp stores. First contact. The shock of abundance. The initial encounters between German prisoners and American guards consistently produced the same reaction: stunned disbelief at the casual abundance surrounding every American soldier. The contrast wasn't subtle. It was a demonstration of two entirely different levels of industrial capacity. Obergefreiter Hans Schmidt, captured during the Ardennes fighting, later testified, "The first American I saw was eating chocolate while smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee, all at the same time. I thought he must be an officer. Then I saw his uniform had no rank above private. This was impossible. The Americans weren't showing off or making propaganda points. They were simply living according to their normal supply standards. The sergeant who gave Bauer coffee and cigarettes was following standard procedure. Keep prisoners calm and cooperative by meeting basic human needs. But what Americans considered basic human needs exceeded what German officers received as special privileges. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. How could a nation provide such abundance to common soldiers while simultaneously fighting wars on multiple fronts? The mathematics of industrial warfare. Staff Sergeant John Reynolds of the 82nd Airborne had fought his way from Sicily to Belgium. He'd seen plenty of German prisoners, but the Ardennes captives struck him as different. Not just defeated, but genuinely shocked by American material culture. "They couldn't stop staring at our cigarettes," he recalled decades later. "I'd pull out a pack of Luckies, and they'd watch like I was performing magic. One kid asked if I was a general because I had 2 packs in my jacket. I told him every GI got that many daily, and he just shook his head like I was lying." The distribution system that delivered cigarettes to Reynolds operated with precision that exceeded most German military logistics. Tobacco companies had retooled their entire production for military contracts. Ships carried cigarettes across oceans. Trucks delivered them to front-line positions. Every link in the chain functioned smoothly enough that individual soldiers never thought about supply. Cigarettes simply appeared in their rations like clockwork. Lieutenant William Carter managed supply logistics for a quartermaster company supporting the First Army. His ledgers revealed the scale of American abundance. In 1 month, we shipped more chocolate to frontline troops than the German army had distributed to its entire forces in the previous year. The numbers weren't even close. Carter's unit tracked consumption statistics that would have staggered German planners. American soldiers discarded half-eaten chocolate bars without thought. They threw away coffee that had grown cold. They lost entire packs of cigarettes and requisitioned replacements without paperwork or justification. "The waste was magnificent," Carter wrote in his journal. "We could afford to throw away more than the enemy could produce." The ersatz reality. German Sergeant Dietrich Müller had served since 1940, fighting in Poland, France, and Russia before being captured in Belgium. He understood military logistics from the German perspective: constant improvisation, careful rationing, and making do with substitutes that grew worse each year. At home, finding real tobacco was like discovering gold, he told American interrogators. We rolled cigarettes from anything that would burn. Leaves, paper, sometimes just hay. One real cigarette could be traded for a day's food ration. Müller described the ersatz economy that had consumed German civilian and military life. Coffee made from roasted barley or acorns, if available at all. Soap manufactured from clay and ash. Chocolate that contained no cocoa, replaced with artificial flavoring, and sawdust. Clothing patched and repatched until the original fabric disappeared beneath layers of repairs. The psychological impact of constant substitution was corrosive. Every ersatz product reminded Germans that their economy couldn't provide real versions of basic goods. Every makeshift meal reinforced the reality of scarcity. Every recycled item demonstrated the growing gap between German needs and German capacity. "We told ourselves these sacrifices proved our strength," Müller continued, "that Americans were soft because they needed luxuries. Then I met American soldiers who carried more real food in their pockets than I'd seen in months." The PO2 times. Potent revelation. The prisoner of war collection point near Spa, Belgium, became an involuntary classroom in American abundance. Hundreds of German prisoners captured during the failed Ardennes offensive found themselves confronted with logistical realities that challenged every assumption about comparative national strength. American guards distributed standard POW rations that exceeded what German soldiers had received as combat troops. Hot coffee flowed continuously from field kitchens. Cigarettes were handed out freely, not as rewards for cooperation, but as standard humanitarian provisions. Chocolate bars appeared in quantities that suggested unlimited supply. The guards themselves seemed unaware of the psychological impact their casual generosity was creating. To them, sharing cigarettes with prisoners was routine military procedure. The coffee was standard issue, brewed in quantities sufficient for both guards and captives. The chocolate came from their own rations, which were resupplied faster than they could be consumed. Private First Class Tommy DeMarco from Chicago had grown up during the Depression, understanding scarcity from personal experience. But military service had immersed him in American wartime abundance that dwarfed civilian prosperity. "I felt sorry for those German guys," he wrote to his sister. "They acted like they'd never seen real chocolate before. Some of them cried when we gave them coffee. I mean, actual tears over a cup of coffee. Made me realize how good we had it, even in a war zone." The Zippo moment. The small details often carried the greatest psychological impact. When Sergeant Reynolds lit Gefreiter Bauer's cigarette with a chrome Zippo lighter, the gesture contained layers of meaning that transcended the simple act of providing fire. Zippo lighters were standard issue to American forces, not expensive items reserved for officers, but basic equipment provided to every soldier. The lighter represented American manufacturing capacity applied to comfort rather than necessity. It was a machine designed to work reliably in combat conditions, mass-produced with precision that German industry could no longer achieve, and distributed so widely that individual soldiers treated them as disposable items. Bauer had been carrying fire in a battered tin filled with char cloth and tinder, a medieval solution that required constant maintenance and often failed in wet conditions. The American's lighter worked perfectly with a simple thumb motion, providing instant flame in sub-zero temperatures. "He flicked it like magic," Bauer testified after the war. "Perfect flame every time. No fuss, no preparation, no worry. I asked if it was expensive. Maybe a gift from home. He laughed and said every soldier got one. That's when I understood the difference between our armies." The Zippo became a symbol of American industrial philosophy. Apply sophisticated engineering to simple problems, manufacture with sufficient precision to ensure reliability, and produce in quantities that make individual units nearly disposable. This approach extended to every aspect of American logistics, from lighters to landing craft. Coffee culture in foxholes. The availability of coffee to frontline American troops revealed systematic attention to morale factors that German command had long since abandoned. Real coffee, not ersatz substitutes, reached soldiers in forward positions through supply chains that treated it as essential rather than luxury. Instant coffee technology, perfected by companies like Nescafé and Maxwell House, allowed Americans to brew hot coffee anywhere with just water and heat. K-rations included coffee packets as standard components. Field kitchens prepared fresh coffee whenever possible. Even individual soldiers carried personal coffee supplies in their packs. German prisoners consistently identified coffee as the luxury that most clearly demonstrated American abundance. SS Unterscharführer Werner Klein, captured near Bastogne, had not tasted real coffee since 1942. When offered a cup by his captors, he initially refused, assuming it was ersatz made from the same acorn powder his unit had been drinking. "The American insisted it was real coffee," Klein testified. "I didn't believe him until I tasted it. Then I understood why they were winning. A nation that could give real coffee to prisoners had resources we couldn't comprehend." The psychological impact extended beyond individual prisoners to entire units observing American logistical operations. German soldiers in defensive positions could smell coffee brewing in American camps. They could see GIs drinking from steaming cups during brief truces or prisoner exchanges. The aroma of real coffee drifting across no man's land became a form of psychological warfare more effective than propaganda broadcasts. The chocolate economy. American chocolate distribution operated on scales that redefined German understanding of industrial capacity. The D-ration chocolate bar, designed to provide 600 calories in a single 4-ounce bar, was engineered to withstand temperatures from -40 degrees Fahrenheit to 120 degrees Fahrenheit without melting or spoiling. This wasn't artisanal confectionery, but industrial food engineering applied to soldier comfort. Hershey's had converted its entire production capacity to military contracts, producing specialized chocolate formulations that met Army specifications for nutrition, durability, and shelf life. The company manufactured over 600 million bars during the war years, distributed not just to American forces, but shared with Allied troops and even enemy prisoners under Geneva Convention provisions. German prisoners encountering American chocolate often assumed they were receiving special treatment or propaganda materials. The reality was more psychologically devastating. This was standard issue to every American soldier, produced in such quantities that individual consumption barely registered in supply calculations. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber, a Wehrmacht officer captured in January 1945, kept detailed notes on American rations provided to prisoners. They give chocolate daily, real chocolate with cocoa, sugar, milk. Not the artificial bars we produced before rationing ended chocolate entirely. Each prisoner receives what a German general might receive on his birthday, if fortunate. The casual disposal of partially eaten chocolate bars by American soldiers created profound cognitive dissonance among German observers. Men who had fought for crumbs watched enemies throw away food that represented unimaginable luxury. The waste wasn't malicious. It was simply the natural result of abundance beyond German comprehension. Supply chain supremacy. The Red Ball Express and similar logistics operations delivered comfort items to frontline troops with efficiency that exceeded German supply of basic military necessities. Trucks carrying cigarettes, coffee, and chocolate moved with priority equal to ammunition and fuel convoys. American command had concluded that soldier morale was worth significant logistical investment. The philosophical difference was stark. German logistics focused on minimum subsistence to maintain fighting capability, while American logistics aimed for abundance sufficient to maintain civilian comfort standards even in combat zones. This approach required industrial capacity that Germany had never possessed, even at the height of its power. Major Robert Harrison commanded a quartermaster depot that supplied the Third Army's advance across France and into Germany. His warehouses contained stockpiles that amazed German prisoners assigned to work details. We had entire buildings filled with nothing but cigarettes, millions of packs stacked floor to ceiling. Another building held only chocolate and candy. The Germans working there couldn't understand why we would ship luxuries across an ocean during wartime. The work details provided German prisoners with intimate knowledge of American logistics that challenged their fundamental assumptions about wartime priorities. They witnessed operations that treated comfort items as strategic materials worthy of the same protection and transportation priority as weapons and ammunition. The breakdown of propaganda. Nazi propaganda had prepared German soldiers for American military weakness, claiming that democratic societies lacked the discipline and sacrifice necessary for sustained warfare. The reality they encountered inverted every assumption. Americans displayed strength through abundance rather than scarcity, confidence through generosity rather than hoarding. The propaganda narrative that portrayed Americans as soft and undisciplined collapsed when confronted with soldiers who could afford to share cigarettes with enemies. How could weak Americans provide every soldier with luxuries that German officers couldn't obtain? How could undisciplined forces maintain supply lines that delivered chocolate to frontline foxholes? Gefreiter Karl Bauer, smoking his American cigarette in the POW cage, struggled to reconcile his experience with years of ideological conditioning. We were told Americans were weak because they lived comfortable lives. But comfort wasn't weakness. It was evidence of strength. They were strong enough to create abundance even during total war. The psychological reversal was complete. What Germans had interpreted as American weakness was actually American power. The industrial capacity that provided civilian luxuries during peacetime could be redirected toward military abundance during war, creating logistical superiority that no amount of individual courage or tactical skill could overcome. The cigarette testimony. The distribution of cigarettes to German prisoners became a form of involuntary intelligence gathering. Prisoners consistently testified that American tobacco was superior in quality to what German soldiers had smoked before rationing eliminated tobacco entirely. 1. The cigarettes came in standardized packs with consistent quality control that exceeded German manufacturing standards even during peacetime. The psychological impact of free cigarettes extended beyond individual comfort to broader questions about national capabilities. If Americans could afford to give premium tobacco to enemy prisoners, what did that suggest about their overall productive capacity? If cigarettes were so abundant that guards handed them out casually, what other resources did America possess in unlimited quantities? SS Rottenführer Heinrich Braun, captured near the Rhine in March 1945, provided testimony that summarized the experience of thousands. They gave me 3 cigarettes while processing me as a prisoner. Real tobacco, perfectly rolled, better than anything I'd smoked before the war. When I asked if this was special treatment, the guard laughed and said it was standard. That's when I knew Germany had lost, not just the battle, but the war itself. The cigarettes served as tangible evidence of American industrial might that prisoners could hold, smoke, and compare directly to their own experiences. Unlike abstract statistics about production capacity or economic strength, tobacco quality provided immediate, sensory proof of comparative advantage that no propaganda could explain away. The officers' shock. German officers, trained to understand logistics and industrial capacity, experienced the most profound psychological impact when confronted with American abundance. Their military education had taught them to calculate supply requirements, evaluate productive capacity, and assess logistical capabilities. The mathematics of American abundance exceeded their analytical frameworks. Oberst Friedrich von Manstein, captured with his staff during the Rhine crossing, found himself housed in a POW facility, where American guards consumed more coffee daily than his entire regiment had received monthly. The guards weren't hoarding or rationing. They were simply living according to their normal supply standards. I realized we had been fighting the wrong war, von Manstein wrote in his prison diary. We calculated tank production, aircraft numbers, artillery pieces. We never calculated cigarettes per soldier or pounds of coffee per division. Those numbers would have told us the war was impossible from the beginning. The officer corps had been particularly susceptible to Nazi propaganda about American weakness because their education emphasized military virtues like discipline, sacrifice, and efficiency. Encountering an enemy that achieved superiority through abundance rather than deprivation challenged their fundamental understanding of military power. Winter warmth and enemy kindness. The contrast between German and American winter preparations revealed another dimension of logistical disparity. German soldiers in the Ardennes offensive wore summer uniforms supplemented with whatever winter gear they could scavenge. Many suffered from frostbite and hypothermia. Medical supplies for treating cold injuries were virtually non-existent. American troops wore standardized winter equipment designed specifically for extreme conditions. Insulated boots, layered clothing systems, wind-proof outer garments, and chemical hand warmers. Medical units carried extensive supplies for treating cold-weather injuries. Even prisoners received winter gear to prevent medical complications during transport and detention. The kindness shown to German prisoners in providing warm clothing and hot drinks wasn't just humanitarian gesture. It was evidence of abundant resources that could be extended even to enemies without compromising American combat effectiveness. German soldiers, shivering in inadequate clothing, watched their captors provide them with better winter gear than their own army had supplied. The medical evidence. American medical personnel examining German prisoners documented the physical evidence of sustained malnutrition and deprivation. Dental examinations revealed widespread decay from ersatz diets lacking essential nutrients. Blood tests showed vitamin deficiencies that had become endemic in German forces. Weight measurements indicated systematic undernourishment that had reduced combat effectiveness. Dr. Robert Sterling, a U.S. Army physician assigned to POW medical screening, documented conditions that shocked medical staff. These men showed signs of chronic malnutrition despite being active soldiers in what was supposedly an elite military force. Their dental health was worse than American civilians during the Depression. Many had not received adequate calories for months. The medical evidence provided objective proof of the logistical collapse that German soldiers experienced subjectively. While Americans worried about overfeeding prisoners whose digestive systems couldn't handle sudden abundance, Germans marveled at having access to medical care that exceeded what their own army provided to wounded soldiers. Industrial victory. The story of German soldiers' shock at American abundance revealed the true nature of victory in industrial warfare. The decision wasn't made in tank battles or infantry assaults, but in factories producing cigarettes, refineries creating gasoline, and agricultural systems generating food surpluses that could be packaged as combat rations. The mathematics were overwhelming. American industrial capacity could simultaneously supply its own forces with unprecedented abundance, provide substantial aid to allies, and still maintain civilian living standards that exceeded German military provisions. This wasn't just quantitative superiority. It was qualitative difference in the relationship between industrial production and military power. German soldiers encountering American logistics learned that modern warfare was fundamentally about productive capacity rather than martial virtue. The nation that could afford to give cigarettes to prisoners possessed advantages that no amount of tactical skill or individual courage could overcome. For soldiers raised on propaganda about American weakness, the final revelation was that abundance itself was a form of strength, perhaps the most decisive form of all. The war had been lost not to superior tactics or better soldiers, but to a nation that could afford to give away what Germany couldn't produce, creating victory through the mathematics of industrial democracy that no amount of martial virtue could overcome.